Okay guys, today we are going to proof the yeast. Here I have my milk, which is already warm, and you want this anywhere between 100 and 110, no higher than that, okay? And as you can see, that's right at 110. And we're going to add our yeast to the milk, and then we are going to add a little bit of the sugar that we have for the recipe into the yeast. This gives the yeast something to feed on so that it grows. So we're going to mix this just gently, and we're going to set this aside. Here, we're going to put this aside, and the rest of the ingredients that we have, we're going to start adding them to the mixer. Okay, so when the yeast is ready, we can just add it in and get it started. Okay, we're going to add everything to our mixer. Now, if you don't have a stand mixer, that's okay. This can all be done by hand in a bowl if you prefer, or if you don't have a stand mixer. It is not necessary. But today I'm going to use my stand mixer because I love it. We're going to add our flour, our sugar. Here I have some salt, and here's the ingredient that I'd like to talk to you about. This is just 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon. This just gives the dough just a little bit of something extra. For the most part, you leave people guessing, God, what is that? What is that? I absolutely love to put it in there. It's just a little tiny bit. And we're going to put our butter. The butter is at room temperature, very soft. We're going to get it out of here. See how soft that is? It's very important to have your ingredients at room temperature. So what I normally do when I know I'm going to make a dough recipe is I take out my stuff in the morning and I leave them on the counter so that they'll be at room temperature by the time I get started. Now, we're just going to give this a little tiny mix with a little spatula. Of course, it's not going to incorporate the butter until we're started. The yeast is just about ready. We're going to add in our 2 egg yolks, and again, very important, have them at room temperature. Okay, and then here's our yeast. You can see how much it grew in just a couple of minutes. That means your yeast is active, ready to go. So we're going to pour all that in there. Let me give this a little mix first, because sometimes it settles at the bottom. And we don't want that. We want all the yeast. Okay, we want all that in there. And I do scrape my bowls, guys. I don't like stuff sitting at the bottom. Okay, that's everything. Now we're going to bring it up. We're going to knead it for 2 minutes exactly. Don't stop the machine. Don't check the dough. Let it go for 2 minutes, and I'll be back on medium speed. Okay guys, it's been 2 minutes, and as you can see, the dough is still very, very gooey and sticky. So I know at this point that it's not going to come together off the bottom of the bowl. So what I do is I add a little bit of flour. And what I mean by a little bit, just a little bit. Just about a tablespoon at a time. So I get here's 1 teaspoon. I go off the sides. And then I add 2 teaspoons. And then I'm going to let this run for another minute and see if the dough starts coming up off the sides. So we're going to let it run again. Okay, the dough is ready. I'm going to take this off the bowl. Okay, here we have our dough, and what we're going to do is we're going to put it into a sprayed bowl, cover it. I'm going to spray it lightly. We're going to take our dough out of here. Just use my trusty bowl scraper. And this was on the machine. I don't think I mentioned that. This was on the mixer for 7 minutes. Just till my dough got very soft like this, just real smooth. That's all you need to see. Once it gets to that point, your dough is good, ready to go into the bowl to rise. This is a small recipe, so it's not too big. Okay, we're going to put it into our bowl. And we're going to flip it so that it doesn't dry on us. Make sure you get some oil on the dough. Okay, we're going to cover this with some saran wrap. so that it gets nice and tight and don't get any air in there. And then to give it some extra warmth, I like to put a clean dish towel over it, and that just keeps it nice and warm. I like to put it in the microwave because there's no draft or anything. I leave it in there. This should be ready really in about 35 minutes because the yeast was good, and if you keep the environment warm, it'll proof up. But it can take up to an hour for it to proof and double in size. So I'll be back after this is ready and we'll roll out the donuts. Okay, I took the dough out, and as you can see here, it's pretty much doubled in size. And what we're gonna do is we're just gonna sprinkle a little bit of flour, not too much, just a little bit, because this dough really doesn't need it. I'm gonna pop it over here, sprinkle a little bit of flour, just so that we can stretch it out. See how nice and easy it stretches out? Very nice. And then what I do next is I decide, because you have options of course, what size you want to make these. And I have these biscuit cutters that I use for my donuts, and as you can see, this one's pretty big. I don't like them that big because they're still going to fluff up some more. So I like to go with a medium size, about like that. This is probably a, I don't know, 3-inch diameter, but you can go even smaller if you like. And then the middle one, I use it to cut out the centers. So I take my dough, let me get this out of the way. I have my sheet, my baker sheet here, and I have a piece of parchment paper. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna spray this just lightly before we put the donut pieces on it. Okay, we're going to keep it right here. We're going to take my trusty silicone roller here and just roll this out to about a 1/2 inch thickness. You can make them smaller if you like. And then you just take your biscuit cutter, go around. Okay. Then we take out the excess, and then we're going to roll this back up. And then I take my smaller one and I put it down the middle. Now you can either make these into donut holes, or you can just re-roll this and make more donuts. That's totally up to you. Or you can also leave this just the way they are like this, and you can do like jelly filled donuts. But today we're going to do the glazed. Okay, and then you get your tray and you just pop the donuts up here, because we're going to have to let these rise one more time. Just like that. And I'm not going to make donut holes. I'm going to re-roll this. So what you do is just roll it back up, and you need to let this set so that the dough can relax again and you're able to roll it. Because if you try to do it right now, see what's going to happen? It's just going to pop right back at you. So we're going to let this set. We're going to cover these donuts. I'm going to use the same bowl. Just let it sit for about 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and the gluten will relax and you're able to wrap it. Okay? And in the meantime, I'm going to take a clean kitchen towel and just cover these donuts. Okay? So I've had the donuts resting, and they double up in size pretty much. Some are a little different in size, but that's okay. These are some of the ones that we re-rolled. Now I'm just waiting for the oil. I have oil. I have about 1.5 inches of oil in the skillet, and I'm waiting for it to get to 325, 330, so we can drop our first couple of donuts in there. So I'm waiting for the oil, and I have a pan here with a draining rack, a cooling rack, and I use that so that if there's any excess oil, it can drip in there. So I'll be right back as soon as the oil comes to temperature. Okay, I'm going to drop the first couple in there. And the temperature is at 340. Look at that. That looks pretty. It just takes just a minute or so. It doesn't take long at all. Okay, we'll just move them over there and put in the next ones. Okay, these are ready. We're going to take them out. And I'm going to transfer you back over to the counter, and we're going to get to put the glaze on these. Look at that. I hope you can see that. Look at that. Okay, we're going to make the chocolate glaze for the donuts. I have a little pot with some water, and it's simmering, okay? We don't really want it boiling. I got this little pot off of Amazon. I will list it below because I love it. It has a little attachment here to hang off the side of the pot and a handle so you can grab the bowl and you're not burning your hands. So the water's boiling, so I'm going to turn it down. I just want it to a simmer. We're going to add our butter and we're going to get that melting, and then we're going to add our chocolate. Now for the chocolate, I'm using this Nestle semi-sweet chocolate, and it's 4 ounces. You can use whatever chocolate you like. Okay, as you can see, this is melting. We're going to add our chocolate. And we're just going to let it sit there for a minute and melt. Just make sure the water's not boiling so this can melt slowly. And after it's been here for about 30 seconds or so, you just want to stir it, you know, mix it around so that it melts. It takes it a couple of minutes. Okay, this is ready. Just got a little piece of butter in there, but that'll melt down with the heat of the chocolate. Okay, I'm going to turn the heat off, and as you can see, it's nice and creamy. Okay, I'm going to transfer you back over to the counter, and we'll finish this off. Okay, now to finish off this icing, I'm going to get a bigger bowl. I have some powdered sugar, confection sugar, some vanilla, and the chocolate that we melted earlier. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our powdered sugar, we are going to take our vanilla, pour it in there. It doesn't matter the order, guys, just as long as you get it in there. And then we're going to pour our chocolate. That look yummy. And we're going to take our hand whisk and start mixing this slowly. And just incorporate it the best you can. It's going to tighten up, but we're going to add some water. We're going to add 1/4 cup of hot water. And that should do it. And just continue to whisk it. I like to use my balloon whisk because that gets everything in there really nice. And that's it. You're done. See how good that looks? Delicious. Okay, we're going to cover this and wait for the donuts, but at least this is ready. You need to make sure and cover it, otherwise it's going to get like a crust on top, and you don't want that. I'm going to transfer this to a smaller bowl, and then we'll be back. That is icing the donuts. This is a chocolate glaze that we made earlier. I popped it in the microwave for about 10 seconds because it does tighten up as it cools. So what I do, it's real easy. I'm nothing fancy about this. I just get a donut, I drop it into the glaze, I turn it, and I just take it right out, just like that. Let the excess drip off, and then I just set them in the tray. We'll get another one. Look at that. And also what I do, if you're making these for a party or for a special occasion, I also like to put some sprinkles on them. So I get my donut, I pop it in the glaze, and either you can just dunk it in or just sprinkle it on just like that. And then you have a real pretty donut. Wouldn't that make a great presentation for a birthday party? If you want to go that far, I would. That's too cute. Or just, you know, just use a regular glaze. And this last piece, I didn't put a hole in it because I just wanted to get the last piece in there fried. I didn't want to throw it away. You can fill it with jelly or just cover the whole thing with chocolate. And there we go. And the rest of this chocolate, you can use it for a lot of things. You can use this for ice cream topping, for French toast, for a milkshake, a lot of stuff. So don't get rid of this. Okey-doke, here is the final product. Look at that. And the one lonely sprinkle donut that somebody's gonna like. I just like them all chocolate, so that was the whole point of the video today. But look at that. Don't they look delicious? And like I said, this is the last piece that came out that I didn't want to put a hole in it because I wanted it to fry up. I didn't want to throw it away. But this is an easy recipe, guys, that you can do, you know, for any occasion, for just even a breakfast, a brunch, or, you know, anything, a holiday dessert. I hope you enjoyed it. I sure enjoyed making it for you. Okay, guys, if you enjoyed the video, I sure would appreciate a thumbs up. Thank you so much for all your support. And if you would leave a comment down below with any questions you may have, I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And go visit us on Facebook at Virtual Kitchen with Laura. Okay, guys, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.